We're going to try and make the session as interactive as possible. So probably many of you have already done it while you are waiting for us to arrive. We are going to connect we are going to join Slido in such a way that we will give you the possibility to interact, and we will get live feedback that will appear on the screen, and this will give us the possibility to not only gauge the sentiment. Of course, it's perfectly anonymous. No names are going to appear, so you needn't worry about that. Then, those of you who would want to make comments, of course, and ask questions related to the subject, which is cohesion policy, you'll have the opportunity to do so. But in this way, you know, everybody can in a very simple way, connect to the Wi-Fi, first of all. So it's important that you first connect to Wi-Fi. The network is Citizens Dialogue, and the password is Gozo Dialogue. One word, small case. So please connect to Wi-Fi. Once you've done that, then you join slido.com. So go into your browser, whichever browser you use, and type in slido.com. And when you are asked for you'll find the hashtag there and insert Gozo. And this way you are connected. So I don't know if you've done it or you've managed. Have there been any problems? Please raise them so that our technical people can deal with them. But so that we can immediately ask the first question. So are we okay? Can we put the first question? There it is. It's on the screen. So this is a fairly, well, easy or not easy one. Is this the first citizens dialogue organized in Gozo? So please, the question is very specific. Organized in Gozo. Those of you who think it is, yes. Those who think it's not, think there have been other citizens dialogues, please key in no. If you're not sure, just say you're not sure. So can we try it? Okay. Yeah, so there you are. You can see your results are automatically, so there's live updating. Yeah, so the vast majority are correct. It is the first, in fact, citizens dialogue organized in Gozo. Although it is not the first citizens dialogue in which Commissioner Cretu is participating, but that was in Malta with Commissioner Vella as well. So there we are. 80% yes, 10% no, 10% are not sure. Well, it's gone up to 81%. So, and the no's have gone down to 6. So that's good. 84% yes. Well, I did say it is the first, so I made it much easier for you. The second question is not so easy. So let's get the second question on the screen. So, when you hear the words European Union, what comes to your mind first? I mean, be spontaneous about it. You know, don't think much about it. You know, you hear European Union. What comes to mind first? So, write whatever. I mean, we're going to get, again, it's anonymous, so nothing's going to appear with a name next to it. It's totally anonymous, but it will give us an opportunity then to have initial reactions from the two commissioners on the basis of the replies. Okay. So there you have, okay. So the three, I guess the three which are in large font are the ones which are more popular, which are being keyed in. Okay, interesting. So unity seems to be the first. Solidarity and funds in second place, opportunities in third place. So let's wait for the screen to evolve even further. So I think there we have the number of replies so far. That's 30. Single market, that's making an appearance now. Unity is still in first place. Solidarity and funds in second place. Okay, solidarity and unity, sharing first place. It sounds almost like the Eurovision here. So, so I mean, I'm going to move because I can't see. I'm sorry. I mean, these won't help me. So, members, acting, group, union, prosperity, regionality, freedom of expression. Johann Strauss. EU funds, new, hope, start, history, democracy, environmental legislation. Just to give you an idea, those are kind of the secondary ones that have been mentioned. Solidarity and unity. So here we have connectivity, which is increasing in I guess. But still solidarity and unity in first place. Funds are close second, I guess. So it's 37. I mean, we're much more, we're double the size, if not triple the number. So please, you know. Although I think I can already ask you to start commenting, and then we'll see how the screen ends up at the end of the voting. So, Commissioner, your comments about, I know you cannot see much, but it's solidarity and unity. I mean, can we kind of have the screen moved a bit this way, maybe the commissioners can, because we have no idea. Okay, so it's solidarity and unity, then it's connectivity, single market, funds, and opportunities. So those are the main themes coming in. Commissioner.
Thank you very much. First of all, I would like to thank you for being here. It is a pleasure for me to be in Gozo. It is true that it's the first citizens' dialogue, but in fact for me it's the second time since I'm commissioner when I'm here. First time I was during the Maltese presidency, and we had an event on cohesion policy in this emblematic project that we have in Gozo about modernization and upgrading the citadel. So thank you very much once again, as I said. About the question, I think European Union, it's a unique project on the planet where 28 countries decided to grow together and to stay together. Unfortunately, we are shaken by the challenge of the UK, who is a country which unfortunately decided to leave this project. It is regrettable, but we have to respect this decision. But for me, being nominated from a country which 28 years ago, it was under the dictatorship, and I think it's very important what you said about freedom of movement, freedom of expression, liberty to go and work. Because we have some young people or old people, but usually young people, they don't believe, my nieces, they don't believe when I am telling them that before '89 we were not able, it was forbidden to go even to Sofia, or not to say in the Western European countries. So I think this is very important. So peace, solidarity, unity, I think is very important for this continent. We have 70 years of peace due to these unique projects. About funds, of course, it is my portfolio. And I think Malta is a very important example of how EU funds are closing disparities and contributing to improving the life of the citizens. I would like to thank to the ministry for the message, because it is true that it is this thing that I feel everywhere I go, but in Malta more than ever, to see how I visited already, as I said, the citadel. Today I was in the industrial park, which will give opportunities to the youth people to remain, young people to remain in Gozo and contribute to the to the growing of the island through the small and medium-sized enterprises. We have just nearby the ferry road and also the port, which was upgraded by the EU funds. I visited also for 5-10 minutes also the church, Tapino, which is upgraded also by the EU funds from last programming period. And also in Malta, the Hospital of Oncology. So they are everywhere. You can see these signs of solidarity. And solidarity means also financial solidarity. So I think it's very important. So I really think that you pointed out two things which are very important: unity and solidarity. And we have to be honest that these are the values that are challenged now by the reality that we have. And we have to keep it together and to stay together. And this will be the challenge in the years to come. And I really would like also to thank Karmenu, my dear colleague and friend, for our work together, because you know that our funds are going hand in hand. And I'm very glad to be with him, and I'm very grateful to be with him, because he's very busy. He's also responsible for 28 countries, and he made this effort to come together with me in front of you and to show our solidarity and friendship with the people of Gozo. I really think that we have to work together to address the challenges that you have, not because Gozo has this double insularity challenges, and I think it's very important to work hand in hand with Maltese authorities and with European Commission to improve the life of the people and to feel you closer to the European Union. As you said, this is a human face of EU, and it's also a sign that we care about the quality of the life of our citizens.
Commissioner Vella.
Thank you very much. Corina, allow me 2 sentences in Maltese and then I will speak.
Of course, we can speak.
L-ewwel net nirringrazzjakom tal-li qegħdin hawnhekk, ma nistax niġu ma ngħidilkomx grazzi. Pjaċir tiegħi li qiegħed mhux biss li qiegħed għawdex imma li qiegħed ukoll fil-kumpanija ta' kummissarju li naħdmu ħafna flimkien. With regards to the first question, that this is...
I understand, you can...
I know, that's why I said it in Maltese.
He didn't speak Gozitin. You would not have understood.
Probably you understood Corina.
Commissaria. Piacere.
With regards to the very first question, that this is actually the first, as it were, official citizens' dialogue. That doesn't mean that Gozo is out of our radar. We constantly discuss Malta, and obviously whenever we discuss Malta, we discuss Gozo. Whenever we discuss funds for Malta, obviously we know that some 10% of those funds are passing over to Gozo. With regards to the second question, I do not think that you can actually describe the European Union in a single word. But most of the words that are shown on this screen make a lot of sense, because at the end of the day, what is the European Union? There is union, there is a group, which is true, because the European Union is a union, it's a group of 28 member states, 27 in the very near future. It's a group, it's a union of 500 million citizens. It's one big continent. We have the word solidarity, and these 500 million citizens are sharing the same destiny, they are sharing the same values, and they are sharing through solidarity. Whenever we participate in a group, in any group, the European Union included, there are always benefits coming out of that group, otherwise we wouldn't be joining that group. But there are also responsibilities that we have to take on as part of our membership in that group. Obviously, every now and then, everyone starts seeing whether the benefits outweigh the responsibilities, and in many instances, that is the truth, especially in the smaller member states. We saw funds, and I'm sure that Corina will explain later on what the cohesion policy and what the structural funds are in general and what they mean to Malta and Gozo, and what they mean to other commissioners, because when it comes to cohesion policy, when it comes to funds, Corina is the donor, you are the receivers, and I am a receiver as well, because she contributes to to environmental policies.
Even here it's a green.
Yes.
Project,
We have a
under
number
your
of green
responsibility.
projects. We have recently came up with a water project, which through LIFE and 5 other funds, which is estimated to be overall some 170 million. So yes, there are. And we were talking and we were saying before on our way here that most of the projects carried out with EU funds are, I think, more visible here in Gozo than they are in Malta. Not that in Malta they are not visible, but here in Gozo, I feel that they are even more visible. Obviously, we talk about benefits. Who is benefiting from the European Union? First of all, the citizens are benefiting. Secondly, the member states are benefiting. But then the European Union as a whole, through this unity, is benefiting. And one of the things that I really appreciate being part of this big continent, European Union, is that even the smallest member states, even the smallest region, can contribute and can make a difference on a global scale. Why am I saying that? Because today we have global issues. We need global solutions when we talk about air pollution, when we talk about climate change, when we talk about marine litter. These are not problems. These are not issues that are found only in the European Union. These are global issues. The European Union, along with all the other countries globally, is committed to the global solutions. But the global solutions are coming, and the commitments are top-down. The European Union as a whole is committing. But the solutions are coming bottom-up. That means each and every citizen is contributing to that global challenge, to that global solution. And I think at times we don't realize that what we are doing for the environment in Gozo is helping the overall environment in the European Union, which is helping the global environment. So I think we can stop and make a few sentences about each and every word, because all those words give credit to what the European Union is really all about.
Thank you. We're going to turn to our third question. Which is now very specifically dealing with cohesion policy. And here you have, you have to choose. So what is cohesion policy about? First and foremost. So it can be about all of these, and it is about all of these. But to you, what is cohesion policy first and foremost about? Solidarity, economic growth, support for structural reforms, equality of opportunities, bringing Europe closer to people, improving people's daily lives. So you can choose, as you can see on your screens, on your mobile phones or tablets or whatever, you can choose one. So please do choose one of them. There we are. So 30 have voted. So we have, a strong lead by improving people's daily lives, Commissioner. I think you're very happy with that, I'm sure.
Thank you very much. As you said, I really think that it's a bit of everything. But the ultimate goal is for us as politicians or people with responsibilities. I think we don't do that for the sake of doing these policies, but our ultimate goal is to improve the daily life of the citizens and to contribute. And this is why I think it's very important. Of course, economic growth, equality of opportunities, bringing Europe closer to the people are part of this. We cannot improve the people's daily lives without economic growth. So without having equal opportunities, this means, so I really think that once again, I'm very grateful for your wisdom, because if I would have to choose only one, I would have choose this. And this is in line. When I come back what Karmenu said, Commissioner Vella, here in Gozo, it is right that almost in every street you see the signs of European Union. And as I said, I already mentioned a lot of projects that I already visited, but be sure that there are more than that. For 2017, 2013, Malta benefited from 900 to 206 million euro from our funds, and 95% of these funds are already spent by March 2017. And for the budget 2014-2020, because you know that in the European Union the budget is for 7 years in order to allow member states to big long-term projects, not like in member states where they have annually budget. For 2014-2020, Malta has almost 900 million from the structural funds, and more than almost 70% of the funds are already allocated to the selected projects, which is very much above the EU average. So I would like to congratulate Malta on the very good use of the EU funds since its accession to the European Union. You have had, as I said, many visible projects funded under the cohesion policy programs. So I really think that it's very important to communicate about what we are doing. So, of course, I would encourage Malta to accelerate the implementation, but you have now expertise and, of course, lesson learned from the previous about the obstacles. We have discussed today also with the Ministry of Gozo. The lady is a very nice young lady and very committed to improve the life of the people. We have discussed about simplification, and our aim is for the next financial period to make the life of beneficiary much more easier. I am personally in favor for the radical simplification, for the single set of rules, but let's see how the discussion in Brussels will go. But I really think part of improving people's daily lives is to make these funds more accessible to the people. So, as I said, I congratulate the Maltese authorities for the importance they attach to bringing the European Union closer to its citizens. I think this is the ultimate goal that we have, to improve also the life of the citizens. Thank you once again.
So we have about 15 minutes left, and I think on this side we have already spoken quite a bit. So it's a citizens' dialogue. It's your opportunity to raise questions, to pose questions, to make comments. Obviously, let's stick to the subject. The subject is cohesion policy. So let's just stick. It's important that we do stick to the subject so that we can take relevant questions, as many as possible. So please, when you stand up to speak, introduce yourself, identify your name and surname, and if you are representing an organization, it would also be helpful for us to know from which organization you are hailing. So we have a gentleman here. Yeah.
Commissioner, Madam Cretu, Commissioner and former colleague of mine, Commissioner Vella, welcome to the beautiful island of Gozo. Gozo is what is considered.
If I can ask you, please, because I'm seeing that you have quite a long speech. so please be as brief as possible so that we only have 15 minutes. This way we give opportunity to many people.
Well, coming all over from Europe for 15 minutes.
Well, the commissioner didn't just come for this.
I thought she came just
No, she
for
didn't come
Gozo
just for this.
dialogue.
She's been in Gozo all day for meetings.
Definition of an island region. An island region is a segment of the member state which is entirely surrounded by sea, has no fixed physical links to the mainland, and is not the seat of the capital city of any European Union country. Gozo is an island region for the purposes of the EU Declaration number 30 on the island regions. Now, when we hear that Gozo is making progress, it's true. We made progress, but I always say, if I have €1 and I make another euro, the percentage on paper and also on the screen and whatever way you like to put it, shows 100% increase. If I have €100 and I get another €10, it shows 10% increase. If we put this on paper and you tell the general public, which of the two do you prefer, 100% or the 10%? And I believe the people will say 100%, but they do not realize that the 100% is just €1. So let's take Gozo. You are here for the first time, Madam Cretu, Commissioner Cretu.
Second time.
Yes, but in Gozo,
Second time as well.
second time as well. But your official visit is today.
No, it's her first dialogue.
Good.
But it's a second official visit to
Okay,
Gozo.
I stand to be corrected. But the point is this. We have advanced in Gozo, but we are still very much backward compared to the economy and the growth that's happening on the mainland, which is Malta. Now, okay, we have...
Can I ask you, please, to start concluding? I mean,
Then I won't say nothing. Thank you.
I mean, let's give opportunity. If there's nobody else who wants to speak, I will give you the word again.
I don't know. Did anybody raise his hands?
Yes, but
Nobody did.
you were the first, and I gave you the mic.
So I say this. How are you, as the European Union Commissioner, going to help Gozo in this regard so we'll have enough finances to promote more cultural aspects, etc., etc.? And to Commissioner Vella, how is it now that the old-fashioned growth and endemic trees are now disappearing from our islands? This week I just phoned the agricultural department to have plums, Karmenu plums, both black and white, and they said no, we don't do them anymore. How is it that they are disappearing from our islands? Can we continue to do something in this regard? Thank you.
Thank you for your questions. Of course, may I remind you that although Commissioner Vella's here, and he's Commissioner responsible for the environment, maritime affairs and fisheries, the subject is cohesion policy. So let's try to stick to the subject, because otherwise we would need not 15 minutes, but 15 hours. So there was a gentleman on this side.
Respond or?
Would you like to take a couple, perhaps a couple?
Okay, yeah.
I mean, if you want to reply on other aspects, please feel free. Okay, let the commissioners
Yes,
reply.
because then,
Yeah.
thank you
Okay.
very much for your comments, and of course, maybe we can speak in length, but I would like to tell you that this is the purpose of EU political regional policy that I lead, to close the disparities, and I am very much aware about the issue of insularity. And of course, you are right. The same is in France. France is a rich country, but the poorest regions in the European Union are Mayotte, or Guadeloupe, or French Guiana. So this is we are doing. We want to make strategies for each regions, and this is a very important value of this policy, because we do the tailor-made approach according with the needs of each regions. We have discussed already with the ministries, because the government, it's the one who decides the allocation, and they decided 10%, which is above the proportionality for Gozo. And Ministry Farrugia Aron told me that for the next programming period they are thinking to give much more money to Gozo, but for this programming period already the money are allocated to the projects. But as I said, I think it's very important, and we are working as a DG Regio to have a unit specialized in islands, because they have their own specificity, and we did that on urban agenda, where until now many DGs, Directorate Generals are dealt with urban issues, and now we have one-stop point in the DG Regio, and we would like to do the same about islands. And next week I will attend in the European Parliament a very important conference about the specificities of islands. So I am very much aware about that, and I would like to assure you that my aim is that every citizen in this European Union, being on the mainland, on the islands, to not to feel that is left behind. Thank you very much.
Yes.
Yeah. First of all, thank you, Lino. As you said, I know how well you mean for Gozo, because you have Gozo very, very much at heart. Although I wouldn't say that Gozo is backward. I've been to a number of islands in the European Union, and I can tell you, I can assure you that Gozo, if not the best, is amongst the best islands in the European Union. With regards to funding, just to give you an idea, because the good thing, the nice thing about the European Union is that citizens, all citizens are equal, whether you're coming from Malta, from Germany, at times, smaller countries, and this is the case even for Malta, because you talked about percentages, and just to give you an idea, I mentioned that the European population is 500 million. The population of Malta is 500,000, rounding figures up. When it comes to Corina's structural funds, her budget is some 300 billion.
350.
350 billion.
But with co-financing is 600
but one almost structural funds, almost 1 billion, she mentioned 900 million, almost 1 billion is coming to Malta. 10% of that is coming to Gozo. So when you work out the numbers, 500,000 out of 500 million population is getting 1 billion out of 350 billion. So I think that works out very much in favor of Malta and Gozo. I agree with you about your concern about the trees. This is something that we in the European Union, we are pushing a lot member states to make certain that their biodiversity is protected, their natural habitat is protected. That's why we push and we support Natura 2000 sites and so on. And I agree with you that, yes, something has to be done. Unfortunately, on a global level, the trend is that we are losing a lot of biodiversity, including not just insects and birds and wild animals and wild fauna, but also endemic trees and so on. So yes, I would, I think, encourage the Maltese and the Gozitan authorities to look after what you are saying and to protect. And there are programs for that, because when we talk about what the structural funds are, in very simple terms, everyone looks at Brussels as the legislators, which is true. We are politicians. Our role is to legislate. But our role is also to facilitate, not just legislate, but to facilitate. We have to support member states, authorities, communities, local communities to implement the legislation that we adopt. There are various ways of doing it, technical assistance, guidelines, directives, but I think the most important are the funds to support member states, to support citizens achieve the targets that we all agree on.
Okay, so we'll go to the next question, but before that, can I have an indication of the number of people who would like to speak? That's why we can kind of calculate the time. So I have 3 hands raised. So the gentleman there had his hand raised first, so we'll take the question.
Maybe one woman.
Yeah. Well, this is an invitation to the women among you to.
Good evening to all. My name is Ronald Sultana. I would like to express my appreciation for Commissioner Cretu and Commissioner Vella for their presence here, and thanking everyone involved in the organization of this splendid event. I would like to refer to the Single European Transport Area, white paper in 2011. And to make my point, I would like to quote one simple sentence from this. Efficient public transport services and infrastructure for non-motorized modes are needed to reduce congestion and emissions. Now, Commissioner Cretu in 2015 had stated that cohesion policy will support the realization of the single European transport area and the fair development of all modes of transport. Now I'm going to try and shorten a lot my intervention because it was quite longer.
Please do.
So in Malta and in Gozo especially, in the last couple of years, the most sensitive topic relating Gozitan affairs was a permanent link to Malta. And we must understand that Gozo's double insularity means that Gozo's connectivity to Malta, to the European continent, and to the rest of the world for that matter, relies exclusively on a ferry. So, and this goes against one of the fundamentals of the EU, connectivity, bringing people closer together. So my question, I'm going straight to the point now, does the Single European Transport Area apply to a railway network from Gozo to a number of strategic positions in Malta, such as the national airport, which would increase or create direct connectivity to the rest of the EU, and also mitigate vehicle emissions, traffic problems, since it would serve as an intra-island transportation mode? Secondly, can Malta benefit from EU funding for such a project? And thirdly, has the window passed under the 2014-2020 programming period? Thank you very much.
Okay, let's take the other two questions. Xavier.
Xavier Greg, President of the Gozo NGO Association, the only regional umbrella organization grouping civil society in Malta. I would like to refer to Malta's treaty with the EU. When Malta was negotiating with the EU, there was a negotiation and it resulted that what was known as a Gozo Declaration was annexed to the Treaty of Malta entering the EU. I think you should be or you must be aware of this. This declaration, which does not bind the EU but binds the Maltese government, states that before the EU decides on a new budget, Malta will request the Commission to report on the disparities in the social and economic development levels between Gozo and Malta. The Commission will be asked to propose ways, whether through EU funding or other means, measures to ensure that these disparities will continue to be reduced and that Gozo will continue to integrate into the internal market on fair conditions. Now that the EU is discussing a new financial agreement, this 20-year agreement. Can you confirm or otherwise whether the Malta government has proposed or forward any type of communication asking the Commission to bring into effect this declaration? And if so, what will the Commission will do with this request for a report on the situation? Thank you.
So, yes, sir.
Madam Commissioner Cretu said that she would like to see Gozitans working in Gozo. That was music to my ears, because the report DG Regio made in 2012 says that there is no need to create employment in Gozo because they have no problems to cross over to Malta. It's only a 25-minute ferry crossing, and they can find employment there. So I would like to know which is the correct policy for the Commission, whether Gozitans should go to Malta for work or stay in Gozo. It was also said that the island of Gozo is benefiting from EU funds and improving its economic status. That is completely incorrect. The level of development of Gozo has been declining vis-à-vis all the other European EU NUTS 3 islands for the last 15 years. Since Malta formed part of the Commission, Gozo has been going backward instead of forward. As regards disparities between Gozo and Malta, in 1990, the disparity was Gozo had 69% of the level of Malta's development. Today, it is only 57%. So the disparity between Gozo and Malta is widening, not decreasing. And the report that your DG region made finds nothing wrong with Gozo. It almost says that Gozo is heaven on earth. There are no problems here in Gozo because all problems can be very easily solved. We have the best, that says that we have the best accessibility in Gozo. When Gozo is the only island in the European Union, when I say island, European EU, not 3 islands, is the only island in the European Union that does not have an airport, an international airport, not even a national one, a domestic one, does not have an international seaport.
Can you conclude, please? Yeah. Can you come? Yeah.
I conclude halfway. Thank you.
Yes, I'm very sorry, but we are really pressed for time. I mean, I wish we could be here for hours, but we cannot, unfortunately. And of course, we still have to. Yes, it is a dialogue. Well, I'll be neutral in my in not commenting on any remarks, and I will invite the commissioners to respond to the remarks and to deliver as well their concluding remarks at the same time.
I think the last 2 questions concern local issues. The first question, which concerns the transport issue, that is something that the European Union is supporting a lot, that the European Union is working on, because you mentioned emissions, air emissions. We are working a lot on air pollution to address the issues of air pollution. I don't know whether you know, in the European Union, we have some 400,000 premature deaths each and every year due to bad air quality. The sources of this bad air quality, there are 4 major sources. One of them is transport. It's transport, agriculture, industry, and power generation. So, yes, there are funds to help the transport sector, but obviously the priorities for the request of the funds, those priorities are made by the member state. It's not the European Union which says, I'm going to give you these funds and you have to use them for industry, or you have to use them for SMEs, or you have to use them for transport. No, it's the other way around. So I think when it comes to the priorities, if you think, and I think you are right, that transport is one of the improvement in transports, especially public transports, is an important issue, but then it's up to the member state to include that as one of the priorities when they request for funds. With regards to Xavier, the Gozo declaration and whether Gozo has got a say in the... Yes, all the member states have a say in the European Union's budget. For all intents and purposes, the European Union does not distinguish between Malta and Gozo. They are one member state. And as Malta, yes, will have a say, just like the other 27, when it comes to approving the budget. The Commission proposes the budget, but it is the Council, where Malta is a member, which has
And
to...
European Parliament.
And the European...
With respect, I asked a specific question.
Yes.
About the local issue, because actually are speaking about local issues. It about Gozo and regionality. I asked a specific question to Commissioner Cretu.
I will respond to you.
Yes, yes.
Has the government activated, we had 3 financial agreements since 2004, has this present government activated the document, which itself signed, what the government signed, to our commission? So
But we cannot talk on behalf of the
Maltese government.
Maltese government. Well, go ahead. Can I just make one remark with regards to Gozo's economic status? Again, here, I think we all know that Malta is amongst the best economic performance in the European Union. This is not something that I'm saying. It is something that the Eurostat show. So I cannot imagine how Gozo is not benefiting from Malta's growth. When it comes to, for example, tourism, I cannot understand that Malta is benefiting from the tourism growth, but Gozo is not. So I wouldn't underestimate the improvement, the progress, economic progress that Malta, that...
I took them from the Eurostat data.
Thank you. Well, yes, okay. You've made your point. Now, please be patient and listen to the replies.
Sorry,
No,
did you
I-
finish?
no, yes, yes.
Yeah. So thank you for your questions. Of course, these last 3 questions were very specifically. First of all, the young men, and I am very happy to see young people interested in what the European Union is doing. Of course, efficient transport, it is one of the priority, and we have this TNT network which we have to complete in the European Union, and the traffic connectivity is very important. As I said, for this programming period, Maltese government already allocated almost 70% of the projects, and already paid almost 10% to beneficiaries. And these projects are covering almost everything: sustainable growth, education, training, research, but also, as you said, environment, of course, but also sustainable transport, which is very important. So the connectivity of the Gozo with the mainland and with the continent is very important. And I know that the government is discussing with the European Investment Bank, with us, about different scenarios, about airport or even a tunnel or let's see what it comes from the benefit costs assessment. But in any case, it is not, the government didn't foreseen for this programming period because it is very expensive, this kind of project. So I don't think a country could afford to to take all the EU funds only on one project, because we have also this regulation that we have to cover other thematic objectives like combating poverty, social inclusion, and so on. So it will be a combination probably of funds, of national funds with EIB loans and financial instruments, but we also are ready to contribute for the next programming period. But it's a decision that is not taken yet, and it's under assessment in which way we can improve the connectivity of Gozo with the mainland. So about the NGOs, for us civil society is very important, for me personally, and I encourage you to submit directly to the Commission all the declarations that you have, because we have public consultations constantly, and everyone, even if an individual, could contribute to the public consultation. But you are right, I would like to inform you a bit about the new budget. We are now in the most difficult and decisive phase in discussing the next multi-annual financial framework. And I will be very honest to you that it's not a secret that our policy is under attack because of the departure of the UK, and of course which leave gap. And it's very important for me to preserve this policy, which contributed, as you said, to the improving the life of the citizens. So I have daily discussions with, especially with Commissioner Oettinger, who is in charge of the budget, but with other commissioners, but also with the member states. So in the first part of my mandate, I visited the less developed regions. In the last part of the last period, I visited the net contributors. I don't like this net contributors, net beneficiaries split, because at the end of the day, in my view, all the countries are net beneficiaries. For instance, if you take Netherlands, we should go beyond this just return money, how much money they give, because every country should take into account the entire picture. How much money they give, how much money they receive through the trade, how many companies they are working in Eastern Europe or in Spain or in Portugal, which are big beneficiary of the money. And if we take all in the calculation, you see that all the countries are net beneficiaries. Prime Minister Costa, for instance, said that since the accession of Portugal in the European Union, the trade of the Netherlands with Portugal increased more than 1,000 times. So this is another indirect benefit that a country has when it comes to the EU budget. Now it's very important how, now the EU budget is 1% of the 28 GDP per capita, average GDP per capita. It's €1 per day per citizen. So for less than 1 cup of coffee per day, we are asked to do so many things. As I said, sustainable growth, training, research, innovation, support to SMEs, low carbon economy, and so on. So now it will be, we will submit to the European Parliament and to the Council as co-legislators the budget, and it will be in the hands of the Chief of States and Chief of Governments how much they would like to contribute, because our ambition is to, after 2020, our ambition is that the EU budget to be around 1.1 plus something from the 27 countries, because we will lose one member state, one important donor. European Parliament is more ambitious. It's saying about 1.3 But this is about the willingness of the member states to contribute more. We know that you know that we are working on enhancing our own resources to avoid overlaps and instruments that are competing to each other, but without fresh money, without fresh contribution, we cannot preserve the most important policies that we have: environment, agriculture, cohesion policy. This is very important to preserve, but we have to be aware that there are new priorities on which until now European Union had no attribution, like cross-border controls, defense, migration. So this is very important also to take into account. So I think it's very important for you to be updated, and I very much appreciate when civil society is engaged. And I encourage you to also be in contact with the Maltese government, but also with us directly, because you can participate directly. On the last point, I am not aware that DG Regio have ever said that there are not problems in Gozo, because for me there is not a region, even the richest region in the European Union has pockets of poverty and problems that we have to solve. So for this point of view, I just told you that I am coming from this industrial park, which will create jobs especially for employment, because we know that there is, I see the statistics, you know better than me because you are living here, but there is a hemorrhage of young people that they are leaving Gozo, and for me it's very important to create jobs, to encourage people to come back, but also to encourage people to remain here. So we'll do whatever it takes. But as I said, when it comes to, and this is the aim of this policy, to close the disparities, but and to fill the gaps. But as I said, I had the discussion with the government, and they are aware about these disparities. And I understand that the intention of the Maltese government is from the next programming period to give more. But for this we need projects. We need projects on the ground to create jobs. But of course, as I said, it's an internal matter of Maltese how they distribute the allocation. But I had already this discussion today with the Ministry of Gozo, with the Ministry of European Affairs and the Minister of EU Funds, and they are aware about the widening disparities, and they would like to make the recalculation of how the EU funds will be distributed. Thank you very much to all of you.
Thank you, Commissioner Cretu. Thank you, Commissioner Vella. Of course, it is true, and I appreciate the frustration of not being able to speak out more at greater length in a citizens' dialogue. However, please, this will not be the only event being organized in Malta or Gozo in relation to the cohesion policy and the new financial framework. The Commission representation, Europe Direct in Gozo, my organization, USEC, is engaged in social dialogue with civil society, with the general public, and we will be organizing events where we'll be asking for your opinion, for your views on what the Commission will be proposing in a few days' time. On the 2nd of May, the Commission will be issuing its proposals on the new multi-financial framework, and that is then an opportunity for us to feed into the process that will lead to the adoption of the new budget for the next 7-year period. So thank you very much for being here, and I wish you all a nice evening. Grazie lille.